welcome to Tarun Hayas. Today we will be discussing current affairs of 22nd November 2022. So let's start with the first news of the day. The first news is about the floating trash barrier. Now, why this floating trash barrier is in news? The floating trash barrier which is developed by AlphaMERS Ltd and which have been deployed across 8 cities in India. They have won the Cleaning and Restoring India's Water Body Challenge. So basically, what are these floating trash barrier? It is something like this. As you can see in the picture, that it's a sort of a barrier that prevents the flow of the solid municipal waste. And this utilizes the natural flow of the water body so as to collect this waste, which is then removed by either by the manual or by some other mechanics. So this is how the floating trash barrier looks like, and these are considered as one of the solutions for addressing the environmental issues which are related with the floating solid waste in the water body. This is not wages, this is waste in the water body, and like I said, that it utilizes the natural flow of the water body in order to collect the trash which is floating over the water body, and then later on it is removed manually. And this has been successfully utilized to clean the Kokum village in Chennai and Musi river in Hyderabad, and it has been currently, like I said, is being deployed in 8 cities of India in order to clean the water bodies. The name of the cities are Bengaluru, Chennai, Puducherry, Hyderabad, Mysuru, Thanjavur, Tuticorin and Coimbatore. Now let's talk about what this Cleaning and Restoring India's Water Body Challenge is. Basically, this challenge was conducted by the Principal Scientific Advisor, and this challenge has been conducted by the Waste to Wealth Mission. We know that the Principal Scientific Advisory Body of the Prime Minister has some 8 missions under its purview, which are related with the clean energy, renewable energy, cleaning the water bodies, Swachh Bharat and Unnat Mission, etc., etc. And one of those missions is the Waste to Wealth Mission. Waste to Wealth Mission. So under this mission, this challenge was conducted, and this challenge was surveyed between 27th of November 2020 to 17th of February 2021. So this was the first news of the day. Let's move on to the second news of the day. The second news is about the News Broadcasting and Digital Standard Authority. Now, why this has been in news? Recently, a Hindi TV channel named News18 India has been fined of rupees 50,000 for not adhering to the guidelines provided by the National Broadcasting and Digital Standard Authority for conducting a debate on hijab and then converting it into a communal issue. Therefore, this body has fined the news channel. So let's talk about the News Broadcasting and Digital Standard Authority. Now basically, this is an independent body, and this is not under any government ministry. This is an independent setup of the News Broadcasters and Digital Association, and basically it consists of the representatives of the private television, news, current affairs and the digital broadcaster, and it is completely funded by its members. So if we look at the mechanism of mechanism of digital media in India, then either they are autonomously regulated or they are under the purview of the Government of India. For example, we have the Press Council of India, which has been established by the Parliament Press Council Act. But unlike the Press Council of India, the News Broadcasting and Digital Standard Authority is an independent body. That means the private broadcasters and the digital media associations, they have come together collectively in order to regulate the regulate the digital media and their news platforms so as to adhere to the guidelines provided by the government, and as well as maintain the standards of news broadcasting and digital media in India. So this is completely funded by its members, which consists of some 119 news and current affairs channels. Now, if you look at the members of the association, then senior members of the media organization, they serve at its board. It carries out the activities, that means it promotes, protects and secures the interest of the news broadcasters, digital news media and other related entities. The authority can take the suo motu action, for example like it took in case of the News18 channel. So it can either take the suo motu action, and it can also act on reception of a complaint. So either suo motu or on receipt of complaint. However, the matter should fall within the jurisdiction of the News Broadcasting and Digital Standard Authority. It should fall under the purview of its jurisdiction. Then only it will be able to take either the suo motu action or it can take the action on receipt of a complaint. The action, like I said, it can be taken through the complaint, which is referred to to the authority by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting or any other governmental body or anyone else via its websites. So independent complaints are also entertained. So complaints from the government via the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, independent complaints which are registered on its website, and as well as the suo motu action can be taken. So chairperson, so the body consists of a chairperson and other members, and the chairperson has to be an eminent jurist or a member of the news editor, and those who have experienced in the field of law, education, literature, public administration, etc. They are nominated by the majority of the board. And currently the Supreme Court, the former Supreme Court judge and jurist A.K. Sikri serves as the chairperson of the body. The third news of the day is about the World Energy Outlook. So why this has been in news? The International Energy Agency, which is IEA, International Energy Agency, it has been publishing this outlook since 1998, and recently it has published its 2022 edition. So let's have a look at what Energy Outlook is. So in prelims UPSC might ask question that World Energy Outlook is published by which of the following organization. In previous year questions you would see that such questions have been asked. So you should also know important reports, indexes of the major world organizations, of the major international platforms. So let's look at the key findings of the report. The report says that the global emissions is going to peak in 2025, and the reason has been the Russia-Ukraine war, because the energy prices have surged ever since the war started. The oil prices have increased, and also the natural gas prices have also increased in the international market. However, Russia is trying to sell its oil at a cheaper rate to other countries, to other interested countries. But still, because of the war, it has taken a heavy toll on the energy prices. So the report says that by 2025, not only the emission would rise, but also the energy prices are going to increase, and it is further going to invest in the renewables. Now what happens if the price for the conventional energy is going to increase? It is going to propel the investment into the renewable energy sector. So this is what the report has to say. The high energy prices has caused huge transfers of wealth from consumers to producers, especially in the natural gas sector. So if we look at the economy of the Russia, then Russia exports a lot of oil and natural gases. For example, the Nord 1 and Nord 2 pipeline exports natural gas to the Germany and other interested European countries. So Nord 1 and Nord 2 pipeline. The other findings of the report says that the global energy investment is going to rise by more than 50% from today's level by 2030. The global carbon emission are then set to fall back slowly from a high point of 37 billion tons per year to 32 billion tons by 2050. So these are the two important points that the report says. First, the increase in the investment in the clean energy is going to rise by 50% by 2030, and the global carbon emission are going to fall, or you can say that they are going to decline by 2050 from the current level, which is 37 billion tons per year, to 32 billion tons by 2050. So let's have a look at International Energy Agency, which publishes the World Energy Outlook. So basically, International Energy Agency is an autonomous intergovernmental organization within the OECD framework, that is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Now this organization was formed post 1970s oil crisis in Europe. So only OECD member states can become members of India. However, India is an associate member of the IEA, and in order to become the member of International Energy Agency, India has to become a member of OECD. However, the members of OECD are the advanced or the most developed countries in the world. So according to the International Energy Agency, it acts as a policy advisor to its member, but it also works with the non-member countries, especially China, India and Russia. The next news of the day is about the Uniform Civil Code. Now why Uniform Civil Code was in news recently? It always stays in the news for some reason or the other, but let's discuss the recent context. The first one, the recent context is the Gujarat government. It has recently proposed to constitute a committee to look into all aspects of the Uniform Civil Code. So let's discuss what this Uniform Civil Code is. Basically, when we say code, so code is nothing but it's the compilation of the laws. For example, we have Hindu code. Alright, so currently post 1950s, when Hindu code bill was passed, and then it formed as the Hindu code, and under this falls many of the laws related with the Hindu citizens of the country, and this relates with the civil laws of the people, that is related with the marriage, divorce and adoption. So marriage, divorce, adoption and guardian, these are some of the important civil laws which falls under the purview of the Hindu code. Now what happens that during 1950s, some of the laws for the Hindu citizens were codified. However, because India has a religious diversity, so many of the religious communities do not have their codes, have their laws codified. And according to the Constitution of India, the Article 14 and Article 44. So Article 14 and Article 44, when they are read together, they bring out, we can conclude that all citizens of India should have a uniform civil code, the code which is going to regulate and oversee their marriage, divorce, adoption and guardianship laws, etc., etc. So Article 44 of the Constitution says that the state shall endeavour. The language of the Article 44 is that the state shall endeavour to secure a uniform civil code for the citizens throughout the territory of India. Now in this daily current affairs, we are not going into the depth of the rightness and about the rightness and the wrongness of the UCC. However, we are just going to discuss what UCC is and what Article 44 says and what Article 37 says, etc., etc. Maybe in some other editorial class we would discuss this in detail, that what this UCC is, what are the different points, and how the different laws of the different religious communities have been codified, what kind of laws governs the Muslim citizens, what kind of laws governs the Hindu citizen, Christian citizens, Jewish citizens, etc., etc. So maybe in some other class we'll discuss, but for now we are going to restrict ourselves to discussing what Article 44 has to of the Constitution says and what Article 37 says. Basically Article 37 says that these are not justiciable, that means they are not enforceable by any court of law, but the principles laid down therein are the fundamental in governance. So when we look at the DPSP from Article 36 to Article 51. So these DPSPs are non-justiciable in nature. They were made non-justiciable considering the special conditions or peculiar conditions that India had post-independent, which made it very difficult for the state to implement these some of these directives given in the DPSPs. Thus they were made non-justiciable. These consists of some of the socio-economic right of the citizen, socio-economic rights of the citizens, right? Now Goa is one of those states in which the UCC has. However, there are many arguments with respect to the UCC that Goa has, that it is a very ancient kind of or very old form of UCC. Still it has not been modernized, and it cannot be, some of the experts says that it cannot work as a model for the UCC, and some of the experts says that Goa is a shining example of UCC. So let's discuss how the UCC or the Uniform Civil Code is implemented in Goa. Basically, if we look at the history of Goa, then Goa was the Portuguese colony until in 1961 when India took over Goa, and in 1980s Goa was it was taken over from Portuguese and made a union territory. However, in 1980s Goa was relegated to the position of the state. That means it was made a separate state. So it was introduced by the Portuguese rulers in 1870, and it was retained even after the territory was merged with the Union of India. The next news of the day is about the exercise Garuda. So this exercise Garuda, it is being conducted between the Indian Air Force and the French Air Force, and it is a bilateral exercise which has just culminated at the Air Force Station Jodhpur. Now what is it? What is this exercise Garuda? Basically it's a bilateral exercise between the air forces of India and France. The first edition was held in the year 2003, and the 7th edition of the bilateral exercise was held in the year 2022, that is the present year. Basically the aim of the exercise is to provide a platform for both the countries to enhance their operational capability and interoperability while also sharing the best practices. This is a common aim for all the bilateral exercises that India conducts with other countries. So let's have a look at other exercises which India has with France. The exercise Shakti, it is basically a biennial military exercise which is conducted between India and France, and it was first conducted in the year 2011. Exercise Varuna is a bilateral naval exercise. So we have both army, all the three exercises we conduct with France: army, the air force and the naval. So naval is the Varuna, air force is the Garuda, and army is the exercise Shakti. There is one more exercise which is La Pérouse. It is a multilateral maritime exercise which is led by the French Navy, and India participated in this exercise for the first time in the year 2021. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching Tarun IAS. Have a nice day.